Hey everybody, welcome back to Stratego Freaks for another edition of the King of Strategus. I'm going to mention a few names before we get started here to kind of put in perspective what could possibly happen today. Pele, Michael Jordan, Michael Phelps, Serena Williams. I could go on about the greatest to ever do it, but what we're seeing right now is a historic run by current king, Marcy Regina Wu. MRW for short. You're going to get to know that name very well if you follow Stratego. We're just seeing a monumental run here. This could be 10 games in a row. It's never been done in the King OS. It's been close, but it's never been attained before. So on this day, we could possibly see the best to ever do it, Marcy Regina Wu. And the cool part is, Marcy is playing the challenger, SC Develop, otherwise known as Jim, the creator of Strategus. And I think that's pretty fitting for the man that started it. The driving force behind Strategus is now going to face off against some who are calling the Grim Reaper of Stratego, Marcy. So clearly SC Develop has his hands full. The dude does not play a lot, but that said, clearly understands the game, created, very smart guy, and wanted to play in this great tournament. So I look forward to seeing this match today and what takes place, and hopefully we get a fun game. And I expect fireworks. SC Develop is going to have to play his very best game to beat our king, who's been just playing amazing. We had a great game, I think that was yesterday or the day before, and against our good friend Christian F. And a blind spy pretty much sealed the game there. But that's what we're looking for in these games. We want to see those blind spies. We want to see those, those moments that turn the game in the favor of the better player that day. And that's what we saw in the last King of Strategus. If you guys want to join this epic competition, then there's Marcy Regina and Jim. They're right there waiting to get going. Right on time. I love it. If you're looking to play in the King of Strategus, let me know in the comments here, or join the Discord. There'll be a link to those to the Discord as well, and you can just join in, ask a few questions, and I can add you to the roster in the queue, and you too can be the king. And who doesn't want to be the king? I also want to remind everybody to like and subscribe if you enjoy what we're doing here. If you want us to continue, all right, here we go. Marcy still setting up. Jim is ready to rock and roll. And this should be really good. Just let me know. Join the Discord, and I'll add you to the queue. And the more the merrier, the way I see it. We're going to be doing a change in format to the King of Strategus. It's been working well, but I always feel like mixing things up and changing things around makes it exciting and fresh. We're going to give just another look at the King of Strategus and see how it works. If it doesn't work out, or then we'll just change it again. So I'm not opposed to changing anything. If someone has a good idea, bring it to the table and we'll give it a go. Another thing we're adding to the channel here at Stratego Freaks is a donation link that is also in the description. It's if you click on the description, it's there. It's I think it's Buy Me a Coffee is the app that we're using, and if you want to contribute to the channel and what we do here, we'd appreciate it. We're looking to add some merch and some other fun things, and all the donations help us support what we do here, and we can add and grow the Stratego Freaks channel, and we could use your support. So any donation is a good donation, no pressure. I don't care if it's 2 cents or 2 bits or $5. Whatever you could afford, fantastic. So Jim is clearly setting up and really thinking about how he wants to handle the beast, Marcy Regina Wu, 15-year-old chess champion and clearly future Stratego champion and current king. So We're seeing a monumental run up there with some of the greats. I mean, we saw the USA men and women's hockey team take gold. Will Marcy take gold here today? We'll find out shortly. Yeah, but it's been pretty amazing to watch. You know, it's hard to win 10 games in a row. We've got some really good players in the KOS, the King of Strategus. So to win 10 just to win 10 against anybody, even Lowell, you know the game of Stratego. You might have some bad luck. You get lottoed, maybe a memory. Who knows? But to win 10 in a row is a good accomplishment for any level of player. And so clearly MRW playing well. And we love to see it. We love to see it. Oh, and here we go. So MRW with the first move. Let's see if it's going to be the scouting routine that we've become accustomed to. Front row scouts going out the window. Anything could happen here, people. Marcy's a master of mixing up the game, the tempo, obviously has great timing and an understanding of the end game. You know, all the facets that make a strong player. Understands setups and bluffing and all those things that are important. So early captain. And a push by Jim on the A file. And exchange of sergeants. Behind the lake piece coming out. And a couple of mystery pieces here. And a push. And a take. Jim down the early sergeant. Marcy down the captain and an early major exposed. We've been seeing MRW go down a few captains, was down 2 captains in the last game, and managed to pull off that blind spy, and then just pretty much, you know, strangleholded from that point forward. So clearly feels comfortable. This looks like a scouting piece. Who knows? Pushing on to that mystery piece. And a scout. Two more mystery pieces coming off the I file and the H file. That A4 piece, still unknown, came down and parked. And now down in the setup. Jim playing aggressive, looking to get information, utilizing those scouts, now down a few scouts, and really didn't get the compensation he was looking for. Sure, it's fine to be able to find a captain, but what you're really hoping for is a colonel, general, or marshal. You want the maximum information with the least amount of damage done. And, you know, another scout gone, and only a captain found. And it was a scout. Jim down to 2 scouts here. Marcy with a change of plan. Only used 4 scouts thus far. And, you know, that's going to bode well as you go into the middle and end game. If you have a couple of scouts left, write this down, newcomers. You're going to want to keep a scout or 2. They come in very handy to discover that big piece, that bomb. Get that spy, You know, I say use scouts in the beginning, but also conserve a scout or two for the end. Very important. Write that down. Jim, taking time. Grabs another scout, even on scouts now, and a major? No, and that's 2 majors, I believe, known for Jim. Those will become targets. MRW is a master of targeting those pieces. And another scout used, and another inconsequential captain. But still a target. Not a terrible piece, but all information is good information. And a captain. So Jim, effectively out of scouts, has found a few captains here. And now we're going to have to see some aggressive play. This one is coming down hot. And takes. And there's the gen. So goes down the major, picks up the captain, and the gen is discovered. I think, this goes to that, classic dilemma of whether you want the 2 captains or the single major. This happens quite a bit. It really just depends on how you're playing. But now you've got the information of that general. It's up to Jim to remember that piece. If this game goes deep and has, 600-700 moves, it does become difficult to remember if there's a lot of shuffling of pieces going on. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't. And don't forget to donate. Appreciate you guys. Jim crunching, thinking how to progress, how to take advantage of that general. Beautiful day here in sunny California. Loving it. Great day. Great morning for a game of Stratego, that's for sure. Jim coming down with a mystery piece down the A file. And a big push up to center by MRW. Retraction. And a minor gone. Marcy Regina Wu trying to extract, pick these pieces apart, gather material, trying to keep those advantages as the game goes on. Picking up minors early is very important. And now that's a good hit. It's a good hit by Jim. Gets that sergeant back, only gives up the captain information. Jim looking to keep material on his side of the board too. That's a take. And there's the other gen. Now it's 3 captains to the 1 major. both gens revealed on either side of the board. I still think MRW's gen is on E3, and now Jim's general is on G7. Let's see if Jim can navigate those three captains into a winning position. You get to the end game and you're up three captains. All things considered, you might have the advantage. Really depends on how you're playing the end game and the knowledge you may have of what, and what a good read, what's taking place on the board. These are all factors that can determine how you outplay someone in the end game. But three captains is very strong. But down the lieutenant and the minor. So this is a very even game. Yeah, over this 10-game run or 9-game run from Marcy Regina Wu, we've seen kind of a systematic breakdown. I mean, there was a couple times where Marcy was in trouble in those matches and still found a way to win, and that's what the greats do. They never give up. They exhaust their resources, and they go for it when they have to. There was a really interesting game against my good friend Captain Dirtbag, a.k.a. the most handsome man in Stratego, where he had the advantage and was outplaying MRW. And RC had to make a move and went for the flag. It was kind of desperation, and if it wasn't open, Marcy would have lost. But recognizing that the time to go was then, and did it and found the flag. So that's what the greats do. They find ways to win. Now the action is on the I and J and the A and B file. And that's a hit. And that captain is there. Bang! Another captain. All captains absorbed, and now a colonel has made an appearance here. So this is very interesting. Now, what could this piece be? Coming in, this could be a trapped piece. This could be a trapped colonel. This is going to be a 50-50. If this general comes up, it's hard to say. One of these two on the B file could be the marshal. Jim's going to have to make a decision here. I personally think the B2 piece is the marshal. B2, not the B5. That's just my opinion. Marcy does put the marshal in odd locations and is willing. Okay, so this is it. This is the 50-50 we've been waiting for. He's gonna test that theory. So I was right. I think that A3 piece is the marshal. I could be wrong there too, but that's what it looked like. Mantis giving the right insight for once. So now Marcy again down in material, down 4 captains, a sergeant, but he is down the major. Really interesting game here. Here comes the gen. I think that is the gen. I could be wrong. Once again, I apologize if I get it wrong, but I think E4 is the gen. Now, if Jim could exchange down and be up those 4 captains, if not 3 captains, going into the endgame, that would be a very hard situation for Marcy Regina Wu to overcome. Looking to back that colonel out now. Jim can use a captain as a discovery piece, although I think trying to keep as many captains on the board would be vital against MRW. Now, Jim is down a couple lieutenants. And there's the exchange of generals. I had lost track. But yeah, that's what I thought it was, but I didn't want to open my mouth. But interesting for sure. Now, Jim might have a read on MRW's Marshall, which could be, what was it, B3 or C4? Yeah, it's hard to say. But now the colonel is a lot safer having the gen off the board. Can't use both the Marshal and the gen to trap that piece now. And it would be crucial if Jim had a read on the Marshal. He might be able to utilize his colonels to mount a good attack, but you have to have a very solid read. Spies are a secret, very hard to place either spy right now. Oh, he gives up that one captain there to find out the colonel. Doesn't want to use a major as the discovery piece. Going down 2 majors would be borderline catastrophic at this point. So those pieces cannot leave the board. Jim playing a very solid game here. As I mentioned, the creator, designer, the developer of Strategus, and really appreciate his hard work. We all should. What's that mystery piece coming up? Interesting. Marcy known to put pieces in wild places, back row marshals, colonels, majors. It's very hard to read Marcy Regina Wu. And I've only seen Jim play a few times, so I don't really have a good concept of his style, but he's playing really well right now against one of the best in the game. So hats off to Jim, making this a good fight, and that's what we want for the King of Strategus. Bones of the setup getting revealed. Is this the Marshal? What was that piece? I wish I had my guy Nemesis with me. Here comes that scouting, that reserved scout that Marcy was holding on to. Is that the spy? Is it the Marshal? And there's the Marshal jumping out and absorbs a lieutenant and a scout. So both players out of scouts. Marshal revealed, Colonel revealed. Pressure. Now here comes, I believe, the other Colonel of MR. It's hard to say. Okay, that's 2 miners down. That could be problematic. Recognizing that that was a dead piece, decides to discover and finds a valuable piece there. Now Jim coming into the setup. I'm feeling that the flag for Marcy Regina Wu is B through D. Oh, and there's another captain gone. Greatly placed major there, and the resources that Jim once had are now starting to whittle out, but he has discovered the 2 majors that are left, or there is 3 majors actually. So let's see if there's a trapping possibility here. This piece coming down. Now, if Jim can garner a major, or maybe even another lieutenant to help even that out in those lower pieces. So this is coming around. Looking to trap that major. And this is starting to look like the Marshal on F4. And Marcy saying that this is the decision time. Is the spy on G2? If that is the Marshal on H3, which I think it is for Jim, does he take? Pushing. Decisions. And there's the exchange. Marcy really selling. It's hard. I kind of, getting that major out of there now. Oh boy, down 2 majors now. This is starting to evaporate. The chances are starting to disappear. That was huge. And it looks like, the Marshal is identified. Marcy has a stranglehold on this board, because that Marshal is now kind of bottled on H3 over there. You can't really capture any of those pieces now with the Marshal being stuck over there. Once again, sticking with my prediction of C through E now. Or it's not B. It's not an open flag, I don't believe, for Marcy Regina Wu. It's going to be D through or C through E now. And Jim's could be, anywhere from D all the way across to J, really, but I doubt open. And they're going to exchange their Jim out of majors. Still has the 2 captains, but the deficit of those majors is going to be extremely hard to overcome. Jim will be able to trade and then, control those lanes with those 2 extra majors, and it's going to be hard for Jim to get anything down. If you're new to the game of Stratego, if you have a couple of big pieces and information on the Marshal, you can, put those 2 extra pieces, and in this case, it would be the majors on 2 of those lanes, and you can't get anything past. You just can't do it. If Jim moves the Marshal to over to the I file to try to come back, if Marcy's Marshal on G4, if it is indeed G4, could just chase it over and keep it relegated, stuck over there, and then the piece becomes useless. Your Marshal's just kind of stuck there. And if you go for the exchange, now you're just down the 2 big pieces, and you'd exchange. Now, it doesn't mean it's over, but it's very hard to get pieces down. You might be able to... All right, this is a push. Really looking to lock off. And that is gone. This game is wraps. I completely forgot where the Marshal was. That's a take. So I was way off in my assessment. I lost track of Jim's Marshal. But this is interesting. Jim looking to I was way off. I am deeply sorry for my miscalculation. I've lost track of his Marshal. Where's the spy? This is getting kind of wild, right? Looking to exchange. But now down the Colonel and the 2 majors, I just don't see it. Every lane can be blocked off. I think this is... And there it is. Realizing the situation, Jim resigns. Another solid performance from Marcy Regina Wu, and has gotten the coveted 10-game-in-a-row record. So put your hands together for the Michael Jordan of Stratego. Just continues to win. And will he ever lose? That is what we need to figure out in the future of the King of Stratego. Who will be the one to dethrone the reigning king 10 times in a row? MRW has done it. We're seeing greatness here, people. Put your hands together for the king. Done it again. Jim, thank you so much for your participation. You played a great game until you didn't. It was very close. I think going down that extra major really kind of sealed it. And but, Marcy Regina Wu can put you in a thought blender. We've seen it time and time again, and has secured the win. Guys, tune in for more great Stratego. The next game will be scheduled shortly. I'll give you guys all updates on the change of format. If you want to participate and be the one to dethrone Marcy Regina Wu, jump on in. Join the Discord. Look for the link in the description of this channel. And don't forget to donate, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Really appreciate everybody out there. Guys, I got to go. Nemesis and I will see you on Strategus, Stratego.com, and we hope to beat you there too. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.